fellow beautiful Earthlings. Welcome back to Planet Nibiru, and today we're going to be talking about the Mandela effect related to changing the past. While I was researching this, I had to look at what the Mandela effect is at its core. So, at its core, I believe it is changing the past. Could the Mandela effect be an effort to change the past? And if you were going to change the past, you would probably want to do it in a significant way. But in order for people to accept that change, they would have to get used to accepting smaller changes first. So is the Mandela effect basically a precursor to larger change of the past to come? And that's kind of the question of where I'm at right now. Is it a manufactured reality in order to produce a change in the future? Because if you can change how we perceive the past, you can change how we perceive the future. So with that said, let's jump in and take a look at what Slavoj Zizek has to say. He is a brilliant philosopher, and if you get a chance, this lecture he gives, it's on YouTube, and it's about, I would say, an hour and a half long, but maybe it's an hour and 45 minutes or so, but it's completely worth it. The guy, he brings up some great points, and he's just a brilliant professor. So with that said, we'll take a look at what he has to say first, and then we'll come back and we'll jump into the list.
Accept that we are lost. That there will be a war, but maybe we can postpone it, and that sometimes the only way to avoid the catastrophe is to accept it as unavoidable. Like my good friend Frank Ruda recently published a book in English, I think only in German, a defense of fatalism. And I'm ready to follow it, namely, in what sense? People like to say how the past is determined, the past is what it was, while the future is open. We have a choice. I claim more and more that exactly the opposite is true. The future is closed. It's our fate. We are caught in dynamic, while the past is open. As we learned from Benjamin, from I don't know who, we can change it. Of course, not in reality, but the point is not to say how we can act differently, but to change the past itself. We should take the lesson of Protestantism, of predestination, which is for me, as already my good friend Frederick Jameson emphasized, the most interesting notion for a Marxist from theology is the Protestant notion of predestination. Because it's the exact opposite of radical fatalism. Now we'll say predestination means everything is determined. Yes, everything is determined, but you don't know in what way, in what sense is determined. What is freedom, actual freedom? Imagine you are in a situation where you have to choose strawberry cake or cheesecake. That's freedom in a stupid sense, totally non-interesting. Remember yourself in a situation where somebody tells you it's predestined what you will do. You don't have a choice. But you don't know what is predestined. And then you sweat, you are afraid that you will not miss your destiny. And in this absolute anxiety, not to miss the inevitable, you get close to true freedom. We must do something like that.
Okay, so if you thought I was hyper, or if you have a hard time following me, then sometimes, maybe it's good to see someone like Mr. Zizek here, because he is definitely all over the place, and it's kind of like philosophical fireworks when you watch this guy. So, but he is, an amazing, person, and his ideas are just outstanding and very, very, to some controversial, and to other people, I just think that he challenges your perceptions, and challenges you to think and look at things from perhaps a different way. So that's awesome. So if it was possible to change the future, by changing the lens through which we view the past, then why wouldn't we? If we could make the future better. So, it just poses some really interesting questions. So let's just jump into that list. We'll read through the list really quick. There's a lot of them there, so we won't discuss them too in depth. But I would just want to throw them out there, just so you guys have an idea of just how many are out there. And this is just a smattering. I'm not going to go through the whole list. I mean, there's over 500 of these changes in this list that we could probably find a list that has some other changes as well, but we'll just run through this real quick. So, the Berenstain Bears, everybody knows the Berenstain Bears. It's one of the main Mandela effects. It's probably one of the ones that you first hear about, Berenstain, and now all of a sudden it's Berenstain. Well, for me, I say all of a sudden. Some people do remember it always being Berenstain. However, I remember Berenstain. That is probably one of the more passionate ones for me and many, many other people as well. Spelling change from dilemma to dilemma. The MNA as opposed to MMA, DILEMMA. I remember DILEMNA, but that's just what I remember. Liquefy is QUIFY, and they say, or I'm not sure, that maybe they're saying that it's LIQUEFY now. I remember it being IFY. Definitely to definitely, definitely, or definitely. I do remember it being definitely as well. I know it's definitely now, but I really remember spelling that with an A at one point. Tomorrow and tomorrow, switching from two M's to two R's and leaving one M. I would say I am more comfortable. I don't think I've ever written it with two M's. No. Although, it doesn't seem too far out there, though. Separate and separate. I remember SEPERATE, and of course now it's SEPARATE. Febreze with two E's, as opposed to Febreze with one E at the end, or in the middle at the end there. So FEBREEZ or FEBREZE. So, you let me know what you guys think on that one, because I know a lot of people are very passionate about the Febreze one as well. I personally believe that it is the first one with the two E's, FEBREEZE. That is how I remember it being spelled, and it's something I had around my house a lot and I've used a good bit. Now the next one, OxyClean, I have not really used, so OXY or OXI. What do you guys think? Procter and Gamble, and Procter and Gamble, I remember it being TER, and Gamble, not TOR, like doctor, or proctor is a person who gives a test to you, so or who administers a test or something. So I'm not really sure that I can really weigh in on it. I'm not passionate about it, but it seems like it was TER at one point, but I can't say for sure on that one. Cheez-Its versus Cheez-It. Kit Dash Cat versus Kit Kat. In between being a compound word. I don't know. And then they got in between with a dash and then in space between. I mean, I think that's probably, I don't really remember it ever being in between a compound word, but whether you use a dash or a space when using those two words together, I don't think it matters. New words that people may not have readily, like the word already, the word all right, the word a lot, using them as a compound word, a lot, or a space lot. Each other. I don't think each other. I don't remember ever seeing each other as a compound word. Each other has always been two separate words to me. McDonald's versus McDonald's. MAC versus MC. Nicolas Cage spelling his name with an H and not. Those, celebrities and actors. I mean, they go through name changes all the time. Steven Seagal has definitely done it publicly, changed the spelling of his name so many times. So the fact that people remember different spellings of Hillary, Dan Aykroyd, Gary Shandling. Um, Gary Shandling, that one's just weird to me because it's spelled with two R's. I mean, I think I would remember that, seeing that. And maybe if he does spell it with two R's now, that's kind of weird because it's almost like Harry, but okay. Leanne Rhymes, I remember it with an H, having an H in it. Rhimes, not just Rimes. Reba McEntire, I remember it being Reba McIntyre. With an I and a Y instead of E and an I. Gordon Ramsay versus Gordon Ramsay. Can't really say, but I think the Ramsay, I always remember that one, but I think that's the one it is now. So, Andrew Zimmerman is a chef on TV, if you don't know who he is, versus Andrew Zimmern. That one I'm pretty passionate about, as I used to watch his show, and yeah, I can't think that I watched it all that time and it was Zimmern all that time, and I always thought it was Zimmerman, but it's possible, but I'm pretty passionate about it. I used to watch the show, and I'm pretty sure it used to be Zimmerman. Um, Hans Zimmerman versus Hans Zimmer. That one, I can't really, not really passionate on it, but it does seem like it was Zimmer and not Zimmerman on him. Barbara Streisand, can't say. It's the first name, Barar versus Barbr. So, it's Bruce Springsteen, Steen with an EI as opposed to EE. Who knows? Fruit Loops, though, that one, using the word fruit that we all know, or FROOT, like, fruit, like loops. So, Fruit Loops, that one, I'm pretty sure it was always spelled right, with the right fruit, but maybe I'm wrong on that one. However, the next one, Looney Tunes, I am very passionate about that one. I remember watching it. It was definitely Looney, and then like iTunes, Tunes, or excuse me, it was definitely Looney, Toons, like cartoons. But now it's like iTunes, like the song. And if it was funny songs, I'd get it, but it's not funny songs. This is not, radio show. It's a TV show, and it's about cartoons. So Looney Tunes with a like cartoon is spelled Cartoon. Then it just makes sense. Looney Tunes, and it had Toons. So that's the way I remember, and I even think I might remember it with a Z instead of an S. It might have been Toonz, but I'm 100% positive I've seen it with Toon on my television when I was a kid. So, and maybe even when I was a teenager, I might have watched some cartoons then, but not. I was pretty well over them by then. Then you got some food stuff like 100-gram bar, 100,000 gram, or 1,000-gram bar. I can't say anything there either way. Krispy Kreme with two Ks. I always remember Krispy Kreme having two Ks. I do not remember Krispy Kreme having C's in it ever. Chick-fil-A. I that's one that for me, I'm like, I know that I've seen it with the C and the CK, but they had them cows that would go up there and misspell stuff all the time. That was part of their marketing campaign. It was like eat more chicken and stuff, but it was all misspelled, and I think sometimes the cows would be up there spelling Chick-fil-A and misspelling it, and I think that maybe somehow that got into the public psyche, and for this might be an actual just organic mistake. Depend, or as I know them, Depends adult diapers. Now, I mean, people have made fun of this. This has been on jokes on major TV shows like Saturday Night Live. You get you some Depends, So, I'm very, very passionate about this one. I always remember it being Depends. I mean, the joke has always been Depends. People have always said Depends. I've always read Depends. No one ever said Depend adult diapers. Get you some Depend. No, it doesn't make sense. The Ford logo, I'm very passionate about that one. I've owned, gosh, 4 or 5 Ford vehicles. Most of mine were trucks, and that Ford logo was right there, big, boom. So that one for me is pretty passionate. That little curly Q on the F, I feel was added at some point. The Volkswagen logo, I don't remember there being a line between the V and W. It's there now, but I just don't remember it. I never owned a Volkswagen either, so it's not like I've waxed it and stared at that little symbol or anything. So, the Volvo logo. My mom had a Volvo, and I don't remember there being an arrow on the outside of the symbol of the circle. I just remember the Volvo going across, and then the circle on the outside. I do not remember the arrow. They got some movie quotes here, but we'll skip those because they really aren't substantial, and we can't validate them in the real world. With one exception, I do have to say the Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. I won't go into any of the other ones, but Mirror, Mirror on the Wall, I think, is the one that gets everybody. Because very, very few people, even Mandela Effect deniers, will tell you that, oh no, it was Mirror, Mirror. That one they're just getting wrong now because they just changed it with this latest movie, and it's Magic Mirror on the Wall. It is a Mandela Effect, if not one of the biggest Mandela effects, and it is definitely Mirror, Mirror on the Wall. Definitely was. Some people don't remember the Southern Ocean. I personally do. Although when we're starting to talk about some geography or whatever, there's many things that I don't agree with on the current maps. Australia and New Zealand. Australia and New Zealand were much further south, and a lot more isolated by the oceans. They were not right up on Indonesia like they are today. I mean, they're just like a hop, skip, and a jump from Southern Asia and all that now. And it's like, what? How did they get there? Skechers, the spelling of Skechers. Now, I always remember Skechers without the T. Some people are very passionate about the Skechers being spelled with a T. So, I'm leaving that one to them. Yeah, the man and guy in Beijing, or it's going to be the Tiananmen Square. The guy who, I remember them saying that he was run over. The tank guy. He stood in front of the tanks in Tiananmen Square. He was defiant, and the tank tried to move and go around him, and he moved over and stood in front of it like 4 or 5 times. He tried to stop it, or he actually did stop this tank. Well, maybe it was more. It could have been like 7 or 8, but he kept standing in front of this tank, and eventually they just ran him over, and that's how I remember it. And I was watching it. I remember watching it. I don't know if it was live or if it was the replay of it, but I definitely remember them saying that he was ran over. Maybe even blurring out the part and showing them, like hitting him, but I don't remember him surviving, so. Many people don't remember narwhals existing. I personally do not remember narwhals existing. I literally thought it was a joke when people started talking about it, I don't know, about a year ago. I really did. I don't remember them existing. I certainly would have liked to have seen them when I was in school. I would have liked to have learned about them. I would have watched anything about them, any Discovery Channel stuff that was out there. I love that stuff. I would have definitely known of their existence. I'm a geek. I love science and love Nature Channel, and that's what I watch all the time: science stuff, nature stuff, etc. And I just can't believe that I totally missed the narwhal for, that many years of my life. But okay, I guess it's possible. Um, Mongolia, people don't remember it being a country. I do. Um, let's call it at that. So let's just say that there's just a massive list, and I'm not going to get down into the next section of it. There's so many changes that we just can't go through them all in one show. But anyway, so get in the comments. Let me know what you think. Let me know if through the lens of chaos theory and fatalism, could they be perhaps trying to change the future by changing the past? And if so, wow, can you imagine what what this is all leading up to? Um, just, just an interesting theory, I think, on what the Mandela effect could be. Why are all these changes out there? Why do people remember them? So, with that, I'm gonna let you go, and please like, subscribe, and if you do like the content, and have an awesome day.